American fathers who struggle to express love to their children. Emotional distance, strict dads, communication breakdown. Welcome to a story that unveils a heartbreaking and shocking truth hidden in many American homes. The emotional distance between fathers and their children. This tale is not just about families, but about the most profound regret that many parents carry silently: the struggle to express love. In a world that demands strength, resilience, stoicism, and unwavering provision from men, many fathers find themselves trapped behind walls built from strictness, silence, generational trauma, cultural expectations, economic pressures, and deep-seated misunderstanding. These walls, invisible yet painfully real, leave children yearning for connection, validation, and affection, while fathers remain haunted by unspoken regret and quiet loneliness. In the quiet tree-lined suburbs of central Pennsylvania, the Thompson family appears to live an ordinary, stable American life. Their two-story colonial home, with a neatly manicured lawn, stands as a testament to hard work and middle-class success. John Thompson, a man in his late 40s, works as a senior mechanical engineer at a mid-sized manufacturing firm specializing in industrial machinery. Colleagues respect him for his discipline, precision, problem-solving skills, and no-nonsense leadership. He rarely misses deadlines and often stays late to mentor younger engineers. At home, he maintains the same rigorous standards. The lawn is mowed every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. sharp. Bills are paid on the first of the month, dinner is served at 6:30 p.m., and chores are completed without complaint. His wife, Sarah, a warm and patient elementary school teacher, often serves as the emotional glue holding the family together. Their son Michael is 17, bright, sensitive, introspective, and artistically gifted. With tousled brown hair and thoughtful eyes, Michael excels academically, participates in debate club, writes for the school newspaper, and plays varsity soccer. He is also a budding short story writer whose English teacher frequently praises his emotional depth and narrative voice. Their younger daughter, Emily, 14, is outgoing, athletic, and sarcastic in that endearing teenage way. On the surface, the Thompsons have everything a family could ask for: financial stability, good schools, and a safe neighborhood. Yet, between John and Michael lies a vast chasm forged not by physical absence or dramatic conflict, but by years of emotional distance and unexpressed love. John grew up in the same region during the turbulent 1980s, in a working-class household marked by economic uncertainty. His father, Richard Thompson, was a steel worker who endured multiple plant layoffs, union strikes, and the slow decline of American manufacturing. Richard believed, like so many men of his generation shaped by post-World War II ideals and economic survival, that love was demonstrated through actions rather than words. Providing food on the table, teaching his son practical skills, enforcing discipline, and ensuring the boy didn't grow up soft were his expressions of care. Emotions were considered a luxury, or worse, a dangerous weakness. "Men don't cry, Johnny," Richard would grunt whenever young John scraped his knee playing outside or felt scared during thunderstorms. Hugs were rare, reserved only for major holidays or victories. Praise came sparingly, usually in the form of a curt nod or, "That'll do." When John's mother passed away from breast cancer when he was just 14, the family barely spoke of the loss. Richard buried his grief under double shifts, weekend overtime, and occasional bottles of whiskey. John learned to internalize his pain, to push forward without complaint. Silence in their home equaled strength and reliability. As a young man, John vowed he would be a different kind of father. He met Sarah in college, drawn to her warmth, empathy, and ability to articulate feelings that he struggled with. They married in their mid-20s, bought their first home, and welcomed Michael soon after. Emily followed 3 years later. John worked tirelessly to provide comfortable housing, family vacations to the Poconos or Ocean City, braces for both kids, and a college savings fund. He coached Michael's little league team for 3 seasons, attended every soccer game he could, and taught both children basic home repairs. Yet the lessons from his own father ran bone deep. Love remained implicit, shown through rules, high expectations, financial security, and occasional harsh reprimands when standards slipped. Phrases like, "I love you," "I'm proud of you," or even, "You did well today," felt awkward and unnatural on his tongue, almost embarrassing. Michael felt the weight of this emotional silence every single day. At school, he poured his energy into achievements, hoping each success would finally earn visible approval. He maintained a 4.0 GPA, led his debate team to regional victories, and published several short stories in the school literary magazine. His friends admired his drive, but Michael carried a quiet ache. At home, conversations with his father were mostly transactional and goal-oriented. "How was practice?" John would ask while reviewing work emails at the dinner table. "It was good. Scored a goal in the scrimmage." Stay focused. College scouts look at more than just talent. They want discipline. That was often the extent of it. No follow-up questions about how Michael felt during the game. No curiosity about the stories he wrote late into the night. No affirming words that made him feel truly seen. Michael would retreat to his room, put on headphones, and journal his frustrations, wondering what more he needed to do to break through his father's reserve. Sarah noticed the growing distance and tried gentle interventions. "John, maybe tell him you're proud." she would suggest after the kids went to bed. John would sigh, rub his temples, and reply, "He knows. I'm here, aren't I? I show up every day." Emily, being younger and more extroverted, seemed to navigate John's sternness with less friction. She could tease him about his dad jokes or demand hugs more freely, and John's demeanor softened slightly with her. But Michael, as the oldest son, bore the heavier unspoken burden of living up to an invisible standard of manhood. One crisp autumn evening, the simmering tension finally erupted. The family had gathered for dinner after a long week. Michael, excited about upcoming college applications, mentioned his interest in programs strong in journalism and creative writing at places like New York University or Penn State's honors program. Creative writing? John's fork paused halfway to his mouth, his brow furrowed. What kind of career is that? Engineering, business, computer science? Something solid with good pay and stability. You need to think practically, Michael. The world is tough out there. Michael's frustration, built up over years, finally boiled over. Dad, you never even ask what I actually like or what makes me happy. It's always what you think is best. Do you even see me as a person or just as a project to mold? The room fell silent. Sarah glanced nervously between them. Emily looked down at her plate. John's face hardened, a mask of defensiveness rising. You think I don't want what's best for you? You think this is easy for me? His voice rose, echoing off the kitchen walls. I work 50+ hours a week, sometimes more, so you don't have to struggle like I did or like your grandfather did. I provide, I guide, I push you because life doesn't hand out participation trophies. And this is the thanks I get. Complaints. Even see me as a person or just as a project to mold. The room fell silent. Sarah glanced nervously between them. Emily looked down at her plate. John's face hardened, a mask of defensiveness rising. You think I don't want what's best for you? You think this is easy for me? His voice rose, echoing off the kitchen walls. I work 50+ hours a week, sometimes more, so you don't have to struggle like I did or like your grandfather did. I provide, I guide, I push you because life doesn't hand out participation trophies. And this is the thanks I get. Complaints about not being soft enough? He pushed his chair back abruptly, the legs scraping loudly against the floor, and retreated to the garage. There, among tools, half-finished projects, and the old red Mustang he had been restoring for years but never quite completed, John spent the evening in solitude. Michael sat stunned at the table, tears stinging his eyes, feeling both anger and deep sadness. The house descended into a heavy, familiar silence that stretched over the following days and weeks. This pattern was far from unique to the Thompsons. Across America, millions of fathers grapple with similar internal battles. Cultural norms, even in the 21st century, still emphasize men as stoic providers and protectors, while subtly discouraging emotional openness. Many, like John, carry intergenerational trauma. Fathers and grandfathers shaped by wars, economic depressions, factory work, or immigrant struggles who viewed vulnerability as a threat to survival. Research and countless personal memoirs reveal that adult children of emotionally distant fathers often report feelings of neglect, which can contribute to anxiety, low self-esteem, difficulties in romantic relationships, and challenges expressing their own emotions. Yet these fathers frequently love their children deeply. They simply lack the vocabulary, modeling, or permission to express it openly. John's private world was a turbulent mix of love, frustration, guilt, and confusion. Late at night, after Sarah and the kids had gone to bed, he would sit alone in the living room with a beer, staring at old photo albums. He remembered coaching Michael's little league games, the pride he felt watching his son round the bases, even if he never verbalized it fully. He recalled staying up until midnight helping with algebra homework when Michael struggled, sacrificing sleep before important work meetings. He thought about how he had fixed Michael's first bicycle and taught him to drive in the empty parking lot of the local mall. But saying the words? Admitting pride or fear or love out loud? It felt like stepping off a cliff. What if I sound weak? What if it changes how they see me as the rock of this family? He wondered in the quiet hours. Meanwhile, Michael confided in his best friend Alex during lunch periods and long walks home. It's like he's proud but can't say it. Or maybe he's not. I don't even know anymore. Sarah encouraged both father and son in private conversations, but she knew pushing too aggressively would cause John to withdraw further. Emily tried her best to lighten the mood with jokes, but even she sensed the heaviness in the house. Weeks turned into a month. Autumn leaves blazed in brilliant shades of orange, red, and gold before drifting to the ground. Thanksgiving arrived with forced politeness around the extended dinner table. John's father, Richard, now in his early 70s and widowed, joined them. Frailer now, with trembling hands as he carved the turkey, Richard's demeanor remained unchanged. When Michael excitedly shared news about winning a regional writing contest, Richard offered only a nod and a gruff, "Good. Keep working hard. Don't waste time on fluff." John added little more. Michael excused himself early, retreating to his room with a heavy heart. That same evening, after guests had departed and the house grew quiet, Michael found his father sitting alone in the dim light of the living room. The television was off. Only a single lamp cast long shadows across John's tired face. Something, perhaps accumulated pain, fear of permanent disconnection or a rare surge of courage propelled Michael forward. He sat down across from his father. "Dad, I don't need grand speeches or constant praise. I just want to know you care, that you see the real me, not just grades, sports, or future career plans. I need to hear it sometimes." John looked up slowly, his eyes meeting his son's with an intensity that felt new. The weight of decades, of his own father's silence, of societal expectations, of unspoken fears, pressed heavily upon him. His throat tightened. Silence stretched for what felt like minutes. Then a single tear slipped down John's weathered cheek. He didn't brush it away. "I do care, Michael," he said, his voice rough, unsteady, and raw. "I care more than you know. I don't always know how to say it. My dad never did. Hell, his dad probably didn't either. I thought if I worked hard, provided everything, kept you on the straight path, disciplined you when needed, that would be enough. But I see now it's not. I'm sorry, son. I'm really sorry. I'm proud of you. Always have been. Your writing, your grades, the way you care about things, it matters." The simple, honest words cracked open years of emotional ice. Michael felt a profound release. For the first time in memory, they talked, haltingly at first, then with growing openness. John shared stories from his childhood he had never voiced: the terror during his father's layoffs, the loneliness after losing his mother, the crushing pressure to be unbreakable no matter what. Michael opened up about feeling invisible at times, about his passion for storytelling as a way to process emotions, about the anxiety of trying to live up to unspoken expectations while fearing he was failing. The breakthrough was not a fairy tale ending. Old habits die hard, and change is rarely linear. The following morning, John still reminded Michael about college application deadlines with his characteristic gruffness. But small cracks appeared in the wall. A genuine, "nice work out there" after a soccer match. An unprompted question about a book Michael was reading. And one chilly evening in the garage where John invited his son to help with the Mustang restoration. They laughed together, truly laughed, when Michael fumbled a wrench and spilled oil. It was imperfect, awkward, and deeply meaningful. Sarah watched these developments with quiet joy and relief. She began facilitating more family activities, weekend hikes in the nearby state park where phones stayed in backpacks, board game nights that encouraged laughter and light competition, and dinner conversations where everyone shared one high and one low from their day. Emily, thrilled by the shift, teased her brother mercilessly about finally cracking the dad code while secretly appreciating the warmer atmosphere. John's personal growth accelerated in the months that followed. He started reading books on emotional intelligence, Modern Fatherhood and Breaking Generational Cycles. Titles like The Whole Brain Child, Daring Greatly by Brené Brown, and various memoirs by men reflecting on similar journeys. He joined a small, informal men's support group at the local community center, where fathers in their 40s and 50s shared strikingly similar struggles. Listening to others confess fears of appearing weak, repeating their own father's mistakes, or simply not knowing how to begin was profoundly validating. John realized he was far from alone. For Michael, the changes brought newfound confidence and freedom. His academic performance remained strong, but he pursued his creative passions more openly and joyfully. He expanded his winning essay into a longer personal piece about father-son relationships in modern America. The piece was raw, vulnerable, and hopeful. When he finally showed the finished version to John, his father read it slowly and carefully at the kitchen table. Afterward, John stood up and pulled Michael into an awkward but genuine, heartfelt hug. "This is really good, son. Powerful. I'm proud of you." Winter arrived with its quiet beauty. Snow blanketed the suburbs as the family gathered for holiday traditions with a new layer of warmth. One evening by the fireplace, John turned to Michael and said softly, without prompting, "I love you, son." Michael smiled, the words warming him more than the fire ever could. "I know, Dad. I love you too." Of course, challenges persisted. There were still arguments about curfews, screen time, college major choices, and differing views on responsibility. John occasionally retreated into old patterns of silence when work stress mounted. Michael sometimes misinterpreted a gruff comment as disapproval, but now they possessed better tools. The courage to circle back later, to say, "I'm struggling with this," and to reaffirm care explicitly. Therapy sessions, first individual for John, then occasional family ones, provided additional guidance and strategies. The broader context of American fatherhood adds depth to their story. In an era of economic pressures, long work commutes, digital distractions, declining community ties, and evolving gender roles, many fathers face intensified versions of John's struggles. Single fathers, immigrant dads adapting to new cultural norms, those in high-stress blue-collar or executive jobs, and men dealing with mental health silently often encounter even steeper barriers. Yet cultural shifts toward mental health awareness, accessible therapy, parenting podcasts, online forums, and books are slowly creating new models of masculine strength. One that values presence, emotional availability, and vulnerability alongside traditional provision and protection. Love, this family's journey reveals, does not always arrive wrapped in poetic words or extravagant gestures. It can be quiet, inconsistent at times, shown through consistent effort, presence, listening, and the daily choice to try despite discomfort. For many fathers, the fear of emotional exposure remains powerful, rooted in upbringing, society, and personal history. But it is never too late to begin dismantling the walls. Most parents, upon reflection in later years, regret the moments lost to silence, the opportunities missed to connect deeply, and the barriers constructed from fear rather than understanding. John Thompson now grasps that material provision is only one dimension of fatherhood. The deeper, more lasting work involves showing up emotionally, day after day, even when it feels foreign or exhausting. This story serves as both a mirror and a call to action for fathers, sons, and families everywhere. Break the cycle. Embrace vulnerability when it matters most. Express love freely through words, actions, time, and attention before time slips irreversibly away. Start small if needed. A sincere compliment, a curious question, a willingness to listen without immediately offering solutions. Your children are not waiting for perfection. They are waiting for you. As the Thompsons sat together on a quiet winter evening, watching snow fall gently outside the window, John placed a hand on Michael's shoulder. The simple gesture spoke volumes. The journey of healing and connection continues. Emotional walls, built over generations, require patience, persistence, and courage to dismantle. But every honest conversation, every shared laugh, every vulnerable admission removes another brick and strengthens the foundation of the family. For the Thompsons, and for countless other families navigating similar paths, hope resides in the willingness to choose connection over comfort, presence over perfection, and love expressed over love assumed. Closing note. If this story touched your heart, reflected your own experiences, or reminded you of a father, son, or family member, take a moment today to reach out. Start the conversation. Take that small, brave step. Like, subscribe, and stay connected with us for more real-life stories exploring family struggles, healing, growth, and the beautiful complexity of human relationships. Wishing you strength and open hearts on your personal journey towards stronger family bonds and a legacy of expressed love that echoes through generations.